I think when you mentioned body language, I said it after the Everton game earlier on in the season when Cristiano sort of walked off, and I thought he put pressure on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He's run off again tonight. He ran off at Watford when the manager was going to get sacked and everyone knew he was going to get sacked, and at Norwich. And I think that Bruno's whinging like that. They're the two senior players in that dressing room. It's devastating for the younger players if the two best players in the team are looking at the others as if you're not good enough. And I think that Cavani takes that away because I don't think he wilts in the presence of Ronaldo or of Fernandes. I think he stands up to them. I think he helps the other younger players on the pitch. I think he needs to be on the pitch because they need to get rid of that whinging attitude. They really do. And you've got to go over and clap the fans at the end of the game. I don't care how you've played. I don't care what the result is. Get over to them fans, clap them, walk off with your teammates. You have to do that, particularly when you're the best player in the world and one of the greatest players of all time.
This whinging has upset you. Is it Bruno and Ronaldo particularly that you're talking about?
Yeah, it's annoyed me for about 2 months. And your best players in your team, it's devastating when those players are giving that look and that body language towards the younger ones. They have to help them. They have to be the father, the grandparent in the team. They have to make sure. I made massive mistakes as a young player at Manchester United, but I had great senior players who, they would have a go at me, but they would also put their arm around me and they'd help me. And I don't get the feeling that's happening. I think there's something wrong in there. And Ralph Rangnick's mentioned body language. He's mentioned words that after 2 weeks as a manager you shouldn't be mentioning. But you can't run off the pitch at the end of the game. Bruno's whinging all the time. He's been sensational for Manchester United. The two centre-backs, to be fair, were poor at the back. They're the other two senior players, so they're performing poorly. Maguire's having a nightmare season. Varane's just coming back into it. But the two players at the front who can carry that team, and to be fair, Ronaldo has carried that team at times this season, but you've got to be there when your teammates need you in the most difficult moments. And look, at the end of the day, I love that lad. You know what I mean? He's the best player that I've ever seen in my life, almost. But don't run off at the end of the game. I'm not having that.
Do you think the situation the manager's in terms of only there till the end of the season, do you think it makes it easier or more difficult for him if he's not happy with body language to make big changes or leave out sort of star players?
It's difficult. You know, I took over a job, to be fair, for 5 months. It's not easy because you don't have the authority sometimes. I think Rangnick's got the experience that certainly I never had. But he'll have hated that tonight. I don't think he liked the Norwich game either. I think he'll be genuinely worried. There's an element of he's obviously there for the next 2 years as well in an advisory role, so he's got to build something in this next 5 months that obviously lasts for the 2 years after. And look, it's early days. It's certainly not something I don't quite like. This. We said before the game, didn't we? We don't quite like the system. So let's be honest about that. The balance in attack is difficult.
There's a lot more lacking, wasn't there, than the system?
Yeah, the balance there is. Look, forget the system, but I don't like the system. It has to be registered before the game. The balance in attack is difficult with that system, and the balance in defence is difficult because you end up with Bruno ending up having to go out wide. It doesn't transition well out to wide to defend. So I think it's difficult for them. But the attitude and the basics, something just isn't right in there, and I don't know what it is. But there's definitely whinging going on. They're all at each other. They're not helping each other. And the spirit of a dressing room is really important. And I was lucky, to be fair. I was in a dressing room for 20 years with absolutely brilliant characters and personalities that every single week, whether it win, lose or draw, I felt that they were all with each other. I don't think they're all with each other in that dressing room at this moment in time. I think there's a bit of a leadership struggle going on. I think Maguire looks like he's the captain, but he don't feel like the captain. He's probably got Varane alongside him thinking we're going to be a really good pair, but it's not quite working yet. It's not quite established. I think Cristiano's coming in. He's upset maybe Bruno in terms of sort of that hierarchy in the team. You've got Cavani who comes off the bench, who's a senior player and obviously a fantastic player as well. It just doesn't feel like the mix of what's going on is right. And Ralph Rangnick's only been here 2.5 weeks, so he's not going to be able to sort that out. Ollie was struggling with it a little bit, I think you could see towards the last 2 or 3 months. But now Ralph Rangnick's struggling as well. And that's Norwich and Newcastle. They're the bottom of the league. And yet those players don't look happy out on the pitch. And they've got to get that right. Because I actually have liked these players for 2 or 3 years. I've actually said they're a good group. They give their all. I've liked the club. But they're just going over the edge a little bit. They're going into that space whereby the fans are going to start looking at them thinking, hang on a minute, you threw Ollie overboard. Yeah, he got sacked, no problem. You know, poor results. Maybe deserved it in the end. But now the new guys come in and you're performing like that for him. So it leaves you no excuses. You've got nowhere to go. Because ultimately then it becomes about you. It doesn't become about the manager anymore. It becomes about what you're doing and what your attitude is and what your personality is out on the pitch. And there are things out there tonight which are not right. They're not right. Irrespective of shape, irrespective of the fact that it's tough playing away at Newcastle. They haven't played for 16 days. That wasn't right there.